Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So we're taking a look at the crypto market today, and it looks as if there is still nothing really going on. If you guys can take a look here at the right-hand side, we're seeing that these charts are all fairly similar patterns. Okay, we got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, right? We saw this move up, sharp move down, and now a lot of sideways momentum here. Okay, if you guys can see that there. Bitcoin dominance is at 64.5%, hasn't really moved much. And so you're seeing these patterns here, all very similar on the side, and you can see that here in the chart as well. This is Bitcoin on the hourly. We saw the movement upwards, downwards, and now trading sideways, and the same can be said for XRP, right? Upwards, downwards, moving sideways. So guys, nothing happening yet. I do find it interesting though that Bitcoin is still hugging that line. Really kind of holding on to that 9,500 price point. People are really finding that is the level that they are happy and comfortable trading Bitcoin at. There's low volume here, not too much trading going on. And so when I put it on the daily, let me look at Bitcoin on the daily here. Right, so over the last 3 days, we've just seen some hovering here, okay? Hovering in that $9,500 level. To me, that's a good sign. We're not going much lower. We're not seeing any lower lows. We hit this low here, which I believe is par for the course in this kind of a market where we see wild swings, huge gains in such short periods of time. Bitcoin went up to almost 14,000 and then corrected back down to about 10,000, 9,500. What was the lowest it went here? It was about 9,000. Okay, at this point, if we do see lower lows, if we come out of this level, I would be a little worried. I'd be a little worried. I mean, I'd kind of gauge what was going on, but I don't think we're going under that, to be honest. This article here from the Daily Hodl, price action signals third BTC bull cycle is beginning. So this coming from Circle, who is, a new report from the Goldman Sachs-backed crypto trading giant Circle says Bitcoin appears to be entering its third long-term market cycle, and I could have told you that. One that will be buoyed by geopolitical uncertainty and a greater level of institutional involvement. That is the key, guys. So this Bitcoin cycle is going to be different than the rest. Let me show you what they mean by this market cycle is going to continue. First, I'm going to put this on log mode and turn off auto so we can see let me actually put it on the daily's fine, I think, for that. Okay, so I had it unlocked. Let's go to, what's going on here? Okay, so forget all these lines, okay, on the chart. I'm just showing you the patterns, right? So this is Bitcoin from 2012 all the way up to present day, and you guys can see the trends here. So we have Bitcoin moving parabolically before coming back down, correcting, okay, coming back down to a low of about $150. Okay, so again, guys, this is 2012. This is when Bitcoin was trading at around $2.50. Going up huge. This is 2013, capping out at roughly $1,150. Okay, coming right back down to about $150, then making its way back up here, okay, to the $20,000 mark. And now this is the third. We're looking at the third market cycle. So if you look at 1, 2, okay, and then entering the third big market cycle. So when you're seeing Bitcoin go up by a factor of, let's call it 10, okay, pretty much a 10 factor every single time, we could realistically see this move. So I'm taking it off auto now. It wouldn't be unrealistic to see Bitcoin move yet again into this kind of zone up here, okay? I'm just eyeballing it roughly, and this would bring us to about the $300,000 mark, right? If this market cycle repeats what Bitcoin has previously done since 2012, so Bitcoin's price rally in 1H 2019 suggests the starting of a new market cycle. First cycle was 2013 to 2015, okay, right? We saw that down here. Right? This was the first cycle, and the second cycle was 2016 to 2018, so that was this here, guys. Right? Okay, 1 and 2. And in a much more mature position relative to the last cycle, high quality assets have seen differentiated performance year to date and do not see the entrance of new low quality assets that was pervasive in 2017. Circle predicts the new cycle will have different investor genetics than previous Bitcoin bull runs. While the prior two cycles were driven mostly by retail investors, the slower cadence of institutional investors and market participants should primarily comprise much of the third longer cycle. So not only are they suggesting that we are now in the midst of this cycle, what they are suggesting is that because we will have more mature investors involved in this crypto frenzy, we're going to see a longer cycle go on, and it may even go higher than it has in previous cycles. The company also says geopolitical and financial uncertainties are likely driving people towards safe haven assets. The report notes that Bitcoin reached an all-time high market capitalized realization of $94.4 billion on July 21st, as well as surpassing 60% in market capitalization dominance, which we've talked about, indicating the bull run is benefiting BTC more than altcoins. Right? We haven't seen altcoins move too much, although some have, but Bitcoin, but we know Bitcoin's the leader, so Bitcoin always moves first, right? Circle's analysis falls in line with a recent report from Grayscale Investments calling Bitcoin a potential hedge against global liquidity crisis. That's the part I don't really agree with. Bitcoin is not going to get the world out of the hot water that is the global liquidity crisis. We have to understand a liquidity crisis needs something that is quick, efficient, affordable, that can do the job, and I don't think Bitcoin is up for that task. We know Bitcoin takes a long time and can get very expensive depending on how many people are trading all at once. Nevertheless, I found it really interesting that Grayscale did mention a global liquidity crisis. If you guys don't know what that is, I'll just link this in the description. What is a global liquidity crisis really quickly? A global liquidity crisis is a negative financial situation characterized by a lack of cash flow. For a single business, a liquidity crisis occurs when the otherwise solvent business does not have liquid assets, i.e. cash, necessary to meet its short-term obligations, such as repaying its loans, paying its bills, and paying its employees. So in the world, we have money tied up in a lot of places, and so if we do not have enough cash in case of an emergency, we could be screwed. If the liquidity crisis is not solved, the company must declare bankruptcy. Guys, to me, that's a job for XRP. I know there's been videos about this and articles written about this. Here on Twitter, Michael iPinky7, that's iPinky77, just tweeted this the other day. Warning, we do have a global liquidity crisis. I just read there's a global total market cap of 69 trillion on stock, and we only have 7 trillion in money. If all stockholders cash out, we're all broke. Yeah, the math just doesn't add up, and he links this here, which is a great infograph. I've used this in a few previous videos, talking about the world's wealth and where the money is allocated. And so there's lots of money allocated in, things like stocks. Okay, this just demonstrates the stock exchanges around the world. But what he's essentially saying is that we cannot cash out because it's just not going to be feasible. There's not enough money around the world to pay us. We are actually borrowing on credit, and yes, on paper, we may all seem to be rich, but it just wouldn't work. It's the same thing like if everybody were to take their money out of the bank all at once, banks would not have enough money to pay us. So XRP Solo on Twitter says XRP will fix the liquidity crisis, releasing Nostro and Vostro accounts. And yes, that's what XRP will do. So I found it interesting that Grayscale does mention the liquidity crisis, but they're saying that Bitcoin was the potential hedge against that. To be honest, I would be invested in XRP if you're talking liquidity crisis. I saw this as well, guys. Ripple devotees are taking out balls deep loans to buy XRP. Now, I do not condone this. I am always saying on this channel, do not put more money into XRP than you can afford to lose, or rather than you can afford to lock away. It is never a good idea to over leverage yourself. However, some people are doing this to the point where it's actually making headlines here on CCN. Here are just a few tweets, guys. I'm not going to read them, but really, guys, if you cannot pay your rent or feed your family, do not put more money into XRP. I repeat, if you cannot pay your rent or feed your family, maybe you should take that extra money and do those things first. Okay, same thing goes with paying high interest bills like credit card bills, guys. I've done several videos on responsible investing, where you can find extra money to buy XRP, because the one thing with cryptocurrency investing, or any investing for that matter, is that we don't actually know how many months our money will be tied up. And so if months go by and your money is tied up, you might have to sell at a loss because you needed that money for something really, really important. Just remember that. Always take extra money. Heck, go out and get a second job and use all that money to buy XRP for all I care. I just want you guys to be responsible here. And this from Dark Horse, reminding us that tomorrow the SBI VC launch is scheduled to occur. And the CEO of SBI Group, Yoshitaka Kitao, has famously stated that when we launch SBI's virtual currency exchange, it will be #1 in the blink of an eye. We know that SBI Group is partnered with Ripple. We know that they are obviously listing XRP there. Yoshitaka Kitao even famously predicted that XRP will go to $10 no problem. He says when this launches, which is tomorrow, it will be #1 in the blink of an eye. And so guys, how do you see tomorrow going down? Do you think there'll be so much demand from pent-up energy in the market, wanting to get at those cryptocurrencies, that we'll see a huge surge in everything, including XRP? Or do you think the volume will build slowly over time as the trading days go on? Yoshitaka Kitao seems pretty confident, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.